Good morning, everyone. We will just get started in a minute. Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you're calling from. Welcome to Cambium Network's webinar on connecting multi-dwelling units. My name is Raj Sethuraman. I'm Vice President of Product Management for our Enterprise Connectivity Solutions. Wi-Fi and Maestro are cloud management. So today we wanted to discuss look at some of the market dynamics around multi-dwelling units or MDUs. We will look at also some of the considerations. Wi-Fi is becoming a critical asset in most of these type of networks. And some of the considerations for Wi-Fi, we'll look at the Cambium Networks Wi-Fi portfolio and some of the benefits it gives both from a managed service provider as well as for MDUs in particular. At the end of the session, we will have time for some Q&A as well. So without much further ado, let me get started. If you kind of look at the market, MDU market is a tremendous opportunity. If you look at the U.S. Census data, about 126 million households in the U.S. In total, and roughly about 35 million of those, about 1/4 to 1/3 of them, live in MDUs. That translates to about 17 million units, over 800,000 buildings. This story is even more interesting when you look at emerging economies, especially if you look at some of the metro areas in these high population density cities. Over 90% of the people live in MDUs, and this could be apartment complexes, condominiums, increasingly it's assisted living, and also student housing. This could be dorm rooms, hostels, etc. From a university perspective. And there is some commonality, if you kind of look at the key trends on how people are using the network. Increasingly, obviously, we all live this day to day. Increasing number of devices on a per user basis, laptops, smartphones, tablets, and sometimes it's gaming devices as well. There are more and more things connecting to the network. We live in a very connected world and a connected home for sure, with more devices that are coming into the household that are enabled to be connected via the in-house Wi-Fi network. Video streaming is becoming a pretty important mechanism for how people consume information. And this could be watching YouTube videos. It could be, doing a video call with your friends and family. And increasingly, it's using services like Netflix, Hulu, and others to consume, your entertainment value via video streaming. So all of this, essentially translates to Wi-Fi becoming, it's mission critical. I mean, it's always been mission critical, as we know, in enterprises and in businesses, but even so in the home network, because you have the family doing, they may be the adults may be working remotely, taking a video conference call from home. Increasingly, if you look at kids going to school, the connectivity is pretty critical for them to do their homework and their research. And then you look at gaming, and you see voice over Wi-Fi increasingly being adopted. So a number of use cases that is driving Wi-Fi to become a critical utility even in the home. And from a property perspective, increasingly you start to see people recognizing that a good quality Wi-Fi is actually a differentiator for my property. And so there is a clear emphasis being put on delivering a good client experience, right? So if you look at what does it translate to in terms of requirements for Wi-Fi and wireless solutions overall, the solution needs to be flexible. There are a variety of different use cases. You have, inside the individual unit, you want to create a good coverage and capacity. At the same time, the property may be spread out in terms of there may be common areas outdoors. There may be video surveillance cameras being connected over a network. So you do need to have a good outdoor connectivity as well. And you want to have areas where there are high density of users gathering and they all want to be connected. So you need to have solutions that have the headroom to scale. Sometimes it's often difficult to predict what the peak demand will be, but when there is an abnormal number of users or more traffic being consumed at any given time, the system needs to provide you the headroom so that the user experience doesn't suffer in those situations. So it translates to ubiquitous indoor and outdoor coverage throughout the property. And like I said, you need to have the performance to handle those peak demands. Property managers are increasingly looking for managed Wi-Fi solutions. So oftentimes now it is like, people are running their business and they want to outsource the job of designing and deploying and managing and running this network to a third party. This could be a service provider. This could be a managed service provider. It could be a VAR that it's servicing a particular region that is now taken on managed Wi-Fi as one of their core offerings. And what they look for, they're looking for a vendor, a solution that can deliver awesome Wi-Fi experience for their tenants. They're looking to have committed service level agreements. So some kind of guarantee. This could translate to in terms of, hey, can you guarantee 5 megabits per user for my users anywhere on my network, anywhere on my property? That could be an example of an SLA that they strike with their managed service provider. And finally, low TCO, total cost of ownership for the solution, is also becoming critical, because as they expand the scope of their network, they don't want to kind of exponentially or even linearly grow that cost. The cost needs to be contained. So again, when you kind of look at the requirements and you kind of look at the trends and what users want, it clearly you can see that what you're talking about here is it's not just an average home network. This is really a network that is starting to mirror fairly sophisticated enterprise-grade requirements, which means what you need is enterprise-grade Wi-Fi, right? So what does it mean to say enterprise-grade Wi-Fi, and why is it different from a consumer-class Wi-Fi, right? So it starts with having the solution options. You want to have the full range of indoor, outdoor, and also backhaul connectivity, right? So in case you have multiple buildings in the property, sometimes you don't have fiber connectivity between those buildings. So how do you see, wiring and cabling is not an option. How do you seamlessly connect these two buildings wirelessly? So backhaul considerations become important as well. You do need to have the ability to handle high densities, peak demands, varying demands. You want resiliency, both from an RF perspective, support seamless roaming across the property. Make sure that the users are secure and the system itself is protecting the users as well as the network from external attacks. It should be easy to manage and deploy. right? So oftentimes when you look at some of these properties, including, if you expand it to overall hospitality market, what you see is people deploying these access points may or may not be IT experts. They may be facilities people who are going in and adding new access points. And so the requirement should be really truly a plug and play, zero touch type of deployment where you power up the AP, connect it to the network, you deploy it, you power it up, and it's up and running. It's configured with the right profile for that particular device where it is operating at, and it's off and running. It should be easy to manage, and increasingly what you're starting to see is people using cloud-based management as a de facto way of managing these networks because they give you the simplicity, they give you the flexibility to manage a network on the go. You also need, end of the day, you're trying to deliver a good client experience, so you need to have an end-to-end visibility into what's happening in the network, what devices are on my network, and if there is any issues, can I troubleshoot it very quickly? Can I narrow it down to which part of my network is having trouble? And so having a rich set of troubleshooting tools is pretty critical. A lot of times these systems the networks are getting deployed and they need to connect with the property management system of some sort. So having modern APIs that allows you to kind of integrate with your backend system, integrating it, perhaps there are situations where the service provider may offer a basic tier and a premium tier that is paid for services. So connecting with billing systems and other things in the back end becomes important. And end of the day, you want enterprise-grade support. A help desk that you can call, a support desk that you can reach out to, a number that you can call to get help when things are not going as well as you want them to. So from a Cambium wireless perspective, multi-dwelling units is an area that we have a number of solutions that fits really well. It starts with our core Wi-Fi, enterprise-grade Wi-Fi solutions for both indoor and outdoor coverage. And we also have backhaul connectivity, both point-to-point and point-to-multipoint, to connect your remote sites or within the campus, within that setting of the MDU. If they have multiple buildings, you can easily connect them all using our wireless backhaul solutions. We really look at this from the standpoint of an intelligent edge, which is the entire solution is cloud managed with a solution that can both be deployed in the cloud or on-prem. But we also have a lot of intelligence built into the access points, so that you get a higher RF resiliency, you get the ability to react to dynamic changes in your RF or number of clients joining the network. You get security at the edge. You are able to also do functions like, even though it's cloud managed, that if my WAN link goes down, my network can still function. Right, so a lot of these capabilities, which is spread across the entire portfolio, both from in-room Wi-Fi to outdoor connectivity solutions. Cloud orchestration gives you a single plane of gas for the end-to-end wireless network from your devices all the way up to the backhaul network. This is a cloud that can be consumed from the public cloud, the Cambium public cloud, but it can also be deployed on premises. So a lot of times you have MSPs who want to run their own data center and want to have that instance of the cloud management running on premises in their data center. And the same solution can be deployed in a private cloud fashion as well. Rapid onboarding and end-to-end performance management. We'll look at some of these capabilities as we go along here. It also has a set of cloud services built in. I talked about the APIs. We also have a guest access portal that built in, so you can have location-specific captive portal pages that are customized. You can have multiple authentication schemes as to how you onboard your devices onto that network. This could be just accept terms and conditions and join the network to, use your social login capabilities to onboard to the network. So you can have, the residents in the property getting one level of access, and for guests coming in, you can have a guest portal for them to provide access in a more contained fashion. And the solution is designed for managed service providers with ability to, multi-tenancy, so they can look at different properties as individual networks and manage them appropriately, and rich set of troubleshooting tools. And I'll look at some of what we offer from a managed service provider functionality a little later in the presentation. So if you kind of stop and look at what is the Cambium network's differentiation, it starts from an architectural perspective. And if you kind of look at how Wi-Fi has evolved, we started from the days of a controller-based architecture about 12, 13 years ago, maybe 15 years ago now. It's where you had a controller that aggregated all of the data plane and control plane. Everything came into the controller, which made management of these networks very, very easy. But at the same time, the controller became the bottleneck, right? From there, you started to see solutions that bridge the traffic locally on the access point itself, but which enabled to scale it up a little bit more. And increasingly, then you started to see more intelligence getting pushed into the APs itself, and you also start the emergence of some controller-less solution, which took away the cost of controllers, right? And from there, you start to see the emergence of more cloud-managed solutions, where you get simple cloud management from a central location on the cloud, and things are distributed on the access points locally. What we have done at Cambium is essentially take the best of both worlds, where you get the resiliency of a controller-based solution. We call it cloud-managed intelligent edge. You get the resiliency of a controller-based network. We have controller capability running in the cloud. At the same time, you get the benefits of a distributed network, where the data plane is distributed, some control plane functions are intelligently pushed onto the AP, so that now we get the full benefits of, hey, even if in a cloud managed solution, typically what happens is if my cloud connectivity goes down, the network goes down. So here you get the benefit of the network functioning, but you get the simplicity and manageability that cloud offers. Cambium, from a portfolio perspective, we have a rich set of indoor and outdoor access points. And also, earlier this year, we introduced a wall plate form factor that you see in the middle, which allows you to have both wired and wireless connectivity if you want in-room services, right? If it's a student housing and you want to provide fairly good connectivity for the student in that room, they may have, for first and foremost, they do need their leading edge in terms of Wi-Fi capacity, a lot of streaming media that they consume wirelessly. So you need a good, resilient, high-performance Wi-Fi network. But you also have, there may be other devices in the room, from an IP phone to maybe some video gaming devices that are connecting through a wired network. So you do need wired connectivity. So the 430W, the wall plate access points, start to give you that converged, in-room capacity from both wired and wireless perspective. The whole network is managed through Maestro. The dashboard that you see there provides you the full end-to-end visibility, configuration capability, and troubleshooting functionality. A little bit deeper look at the portfolio. I won't go into all the details here, but a fairly good range here from solutions for indoor, from in-room coverage that I talked about, to, even if you look at MDUs, you have areas where you want, if you're lighting it from the corridors in some of these high-rise buildings, you want a fairly capable high density AP on these areas. You may have lobby areas in these buildings or common areas that may or may not see that much traffic, that you may want a more a 2x2 AP that is more cost effective, and doesn't require the performance that a 4x4 AP will provide you. So a good range of APs indoors. From an outdoor perspective, one of the design choices that we made at Cambium was to kind of not have external need for external antennas. So we have IP67 rated, really ruggedized outdoor APs. You get omni coverage if you want to have a broad coverage in a particular area. But if you want to have a more focused area, maybe it's a swimming pool and you want to have a very targeted coverage around that, that you can have both APs which have sectorized coverage patterns, 30 degrees, 60, 120 degrees of coverage. So without having to incur the cost of additional external antennas and also compromising on the aesthetics, you get these form factors for APs that are purpose built for specific target use cases. So that's a quick look at the portfolio in terms of the access points. Now I want to switch gears to look at their cloud management solution, cnMaestro. First and foremost, cnMaestro was designed, with a very modern cloud architecture. If you kind of look at the cloud, every 5 years, it's like a lifetime in cloud at the pace at which technology has evolved. And there are a lot of contributions that happen to this technology evolution from the sort of the big cloud vendors, like the Facebooks and the Googles, LinkedIn's of the world. And we are leveraging some of those very same technologies to build cnMaestro Foundation, right? It also, one of the key things that we wanted to emphasize was ease of use, and it starts with zero-touch deployment. So our Cambium APs are instantly discovered by the cloud. You can go to the cloud, you can configure the policy for the APs, and then when you can also kind of adopt these APs, if you will, claim these APs through just entering a serial number. So you log into your account, enter your serial number, and then when that particular AP joins the network, it's automatically recognized and the configuration is pushed down to those APs. Because we use HTTPS, and HTTPS is oftentimes port 443 is always open on all firewalls, there is no unique configuration that is required that slows down the process of onboarding these APs, right? It's designed with managed services in mind, especially when you look at MDUs, right? We touched on this earlier, whether increasingly these are managed by a managed service provider who is responsible for deploying and running the network and guaranteeing a level of performance in this network. So from an MSP perspective, they may have multiple of these properties, right? So you want to have every one of these properties, they want to have an aggregated view of the whole network, but be able to provide capabilities for the individual properties to kind of look at their own network. So multi-tenancy is important, and we'll touch on some of the specific details in an upcoming slide. But really, foundation capabilities to build MSP workflows into the product. APIs, it's RESTful APIs, and it gives you integration with third parties. And you can write, these are all fairly simple standard interfaces that if you have your own application or the property the MSP has their own backend systems they want to integrate with, very, very easy to kind of write to these APIs and make that integration function. One of the things I say, if you're responsible for running this network, end of the day, you're trying to deliver an awesome client experience. And if you kind of look at client experience, oftentimes your Wi-Fi networks get blamed first. When something doesn't work, people say, hey, your Wi-Fi is no good. But in reality, experience is like a multi-link chain, right? And there are multiple factors that actually impact, all the way from in this case, what I'm showing here is a wireless client connecting to a wireless access point E500 solution, and then that is connecting to our point to multipoint EPMP solution, which is giving you wireless backhaul, right? So there are multiple areas where this could, so when the client is having a poor experience, this could be something happening in the RF, something happening with the client itself, something that's, maybe the APs are overloaded or my backhaul link is saturated, right? So as an MSP, they want to be able to have that visibility to say what is impacting my performance, and can I double click on this, any one of these, right? You can get a quick overall view, everything checking out green, you're good to go. But if there are some issues, you can start to double click. First you start with, hey, there are some unconnected clients on the network. What's really is going on? Can we identify what those clients are, and see the reason why the client is getting rejected? In this case, hey, they had an invalid pre-shared key, and this could very well come as hey, I'm not able to connect to your network, right? So the client feels the network is not working, but in this case, it's actually issue on the client side. You also get a sense for some analytics on what type of clients are joining a network. And if you really find that there is a bulk of users are getting impacted or having potentially a poor experience, you can do some real-time scans. There's a Wi-Fi analyzer functionality built into the solution. And if you really want to go deeper, you can even do packet captures on the AP and do a more layer 2 deep dive. So as you can see, there is a number of capabilities that are built in, and at the click of a button, the operator gets a very, very good view, end-to-end view of what's happening in the network, and they can go fairly deep if they want to in furthering their the analysis that they want to do. Okay, so let me touch on some of the things that the MSP functionality that we have. This was we released a little while ago. We ran it in beta for a number of months just to get a lot of our MSP partners trying out the solution and giving us feedback. So this is available right now in an on-premises solution of Maestro. So it gives you a single pane of glass. In this case, I'm showing a MSP that is potentially they have some student housing properties. They may be managing some hotel chains. They're also having a set of MDU properties that they are looking at, right? So it gives you, from the MSP perspective, a single view. It's multi-tenanted. So they look at all of these different networks differently. Every network can be managed as an individual network, but from MSP perspective, they get a single pane of glass across all of their properties and see how my network is doing. They can also form some branded offers. So MSP may have a branded offer for education, a branded offer for hospitality, and a branded offer for MDUs. Now you can create those branded offers, and within that, you can have managed accounts, one per property that you're managing. With cloud access, it's just a matter of going to, if you're using the Cambium cloud, it's cloud.cambium.com. You log into your account and you get the full view of your whole network. So manage anytime, anywhere kind of capabilities. From a little bit more detailed look at what MSP has to offer. So really two key concepts, right? You can create a separate managed account for every one of the customer networks. And these networks can be individually configured and individually administered, as though you just spun up a new version just for that particular customer, right? So that's a whole multi-tenancy functionality. Now, I touched on this briefly in the last slide, but really there are two key components: a branded service that allows, so you can actually create a branded service with your own logos, allows the managed service provider to create a service that can be shared. So if they want to do an MDU service, then they create that the branding around the MDU service. Now, as you onboard new customers, new properties, um, then each one of them becomes a managed account. A managed account is essentially a group of devices that are managed with cnMaestro and configuration objects. And this could be things like wireless LANs, AP groups, um, networks, and sites. So you get a hierarchical view. So for every one of your managed account, you may have a site view, and within the site there are multiple buildings, and within the building multiple floors, and you have your network segmented into specific AP groups. So you get that complete view on a per account basis under each of these managed accounts. All right, and so this could be, it really gives you flexibility. It could be used for by MSP, and sometimes even some of our large enterprise customers use this same feature to segment their network in the way they want to do it. So it really gives you tremendous flexibility into how to manage these capabilities. We continue to evolve. I just want to share something that was, the 1.6.3 release that we just put out in the last month. We continue to evolve the reporting functionality. We added a new performance graph for the cnMaestro products, the cnPilot E-Series products. Things like noise floor, interference, airtime utilization. So you start to see kind of a historical view. Typically on the cloud, today in cnMaestro, you get the last 7 days. We are also introducing later in the year a cnMaestro Pro functionality that will extend this capability to keeping track of information for up to a year, 12 months of data that you can look at, which starts to tell you, hey, is this normal? If I look at a noise floor, for example, or source of interference, you get a sense for, hey, is this just normal activity in this property, or is this something abnormal that is happening? So in a quick view of how my network is doing and how my network is performing, you can get from these charts. Also, to make management a little bit more easier, things like scheduled, you want to back up your system at a particular time of the day, a lot of capabilities that we're building on that front that we released. We touched on APIs. Today, what we have is the RESTful APIs for monitoring. So these are read APIs, so you can collect information from the system, and you can use it for, if you have your own management systems that you have that you want to integrate and suck in data into that particular system, that's good. We also export today RSSI data from our access points, so a location system. So sometimes we have Capital Portal third-party vendors which have location capability built in, so they can take RSSI feed from the APs. Now they can give you a location-based services on top, running as a service on top of the core network. What we're also evolving this to is, especially when in a managed services environment, you start to see people have some programmatic way of making some configuration overrides to the system. And so in the upcoming 2.0 release, which will be in the next 30 days or so, we will also have this functionality to have some basic configuration tasks that you can do programmatically. All communication, so the screenshot you see in the top right here is really an area where you can go and specify how the application is communicating with cnMaestro. So it's very secure. You can set some expiration times in terms of how long this API is allowed to operate, things like that. So there is a lot of security built in so that you don't expose by having these APIs. Security is not compromised in the network. Moving forward, we're also working on, from a future roadmap perspective, webhooks functionality. So this is typically, you see, a lot of times you have application that will go and extract information on when they need it from CN Maestro through these APIs. But a lot of times there are applications where you want to, hey, don't bother me, just tell me when there I have something to consume, right? This could be like working with SMS notification. Tell me when there is a specific event that happened, or pushing data into Splunk. So that's the industry standard that's evolving around is webhooks, and that's something that we'll be supporting as well moving forward. So end of the day, when we kind of put this together, you get the outcomes that both the property managers or MSP want are a little bit different. A property manager is looking to say, hey, what are the Wi-Fi trends of the past month? What are trends and analytics that I see different properties? Is one property behaving better than the other? I've outsourced my network, but to me, Wi-Fi, quality of connectivity, network connectivity in general, is a key differentiator for my property. That's a key value that my tenants see. And am I meeting my goal? And I'm paying this managed service operator to deliver on an SLA. How are we doing, right? And if you kind of flip it around to the MSP perspective, they exactly want to do that. I mean, some of the reporting functionality, they want to be able to show to their customers that, hey, what an awesome job I'm doing, which means I need to have some monthly reports that I can create, or weekly reports, whatever the frequency is. That gives you some metrics in terms of how well my network is being used, how many users on the network, and what the experience is. And this is something that reporting functionality we're continuing to build out, but we also already have some of the functionality there. We looked at, they want to know that, hey, that proactively I need to know how my network is doing, how the user experience is. So tools for getting real-time monitoring of the network, and proactive notifications from clients' experiences, problems, etc. So there is something for the MSP as well. So this is kind of how, with cnPilot and CN Maestro, we bring this whole solution together, and also with our ePMP and PMP portfolio and PTP portfolio, the full fixed wireless access portfolio from Cambium Networks. You get also the backhaul connectivity and kind of a bird's eye view, end-to-end view of the entire network. Right? Also available, obviously, is the rich set of guest portal functionality. That's kind of the screenshot at the bottom right here, where you can actually, the MSP can offer the service, the property manager can define what kind of branding experience they want on their splash pages. So it's very easy to customize an experience, very easy to define authentication options for how people connect to the Wi-Fi network. TCO is another thing that we touched on earlier. I mean, this is a key consideration for the hospitality market in general, and certainly also in the MDU market, where as the capacity needs, the coverage needs of the network grows, they want to also make sure that my total cost is managed, and the property and the MSP both get return on investment. For Cambium, we have taken a very important strategic decision to make it very, very, very economically attractive for our partners and customers. We have, high performance products that match up to all of the standard enterprise vendors out there from a Wi-Fi perspective, and also fixed wireless perspective, where we deliver more. A lot of times when people put our products into a pilot and do a competitive bake-off, they often see that the value that we deliver in terms of the RF excellence that we bring to the table, the capabilities that we build in, truly world-class. And there is no AP license. If you look at a traditional Wi-Fi vendor, there are you get the APs that are fairly high priced compared to the Cambium solutions, and also there is a lot of licensing that goes with it. Right? There is AP licenses. They have management licenses. You had to pay for software maintenance and support. All of these things, if you look at the Cambium side of the equation, no AP licenses. We give you free cloud as management, and which can be deployed on-prem on your own virtual machine. Free software maintenance as well. So really, when you kind of look at this is a comparison I did with our E430W, the wall plate access point, but it's a comparison that it kind of translates across the portfolio if you look at it. So really, the economic advantage is key aspect to what we bring to the overall package. We've been also getting a lot of good wins and successes, and our analysts are starting to notice. In fact, IDC, that does this vendor assessment report every once in 2 years, earlier this year they spent a lot of time with us understanding a solution, and they really called out Cambium Networks as a vendor to watch in the Wi-Fi space, which is a really good recognition for the overall portfolio and the value proposition we bring to the table. Moving on, I want to just share a couple of things on some of the features that are coming out. Like I said, our strategy with our management and controller has been one, it's cloud first, but can be deployed on-prem as well. In a lot of cases, especially we see this in MDU and hospitality, where customers want a physical appliance. They may not have the virtual infrastructure already deployed, and they just want something that is purpose-built. So we will be releasing in Q4 of this year a C4000, which is an appliance form factor for our controller solution, which is Maestro in a box, if you will. Capacity is 125 APs. Actually, we are looking to push that number up a little bit more. It's designed to look very aesthetically pleasing if it's just sitting on the desk. And we spend a lot of time in selecting an industrial design to make that look attractive on the desk. But it can also comes with rack mount kits, so you can mount it on a traditional rack in your wiring closet if that is the preferred method. So fairly capable box, and I think this is certainly would be a good addition to the portfolio for the MDU market as well. I want to conclude with sharing just the momentum that is building with the portfolio at large. We've had I won't spend too much time on this. We have a number of case studies on our website and video case studies and testimonials. But overall, we put a focus around hospitality and MDU, and we are starting to see a lot of adoption globally for our products, from hotel rooms in the US to campgrounds in Europe, to resorts in Africa, in Asia, etc. So broad-based adoption. We also were the first vendor to certify with Facebook. And Facebook did a big press release last week, week before, I think, on this ability that the Facebook Express Wi-Fi. Essentially, the strategy that some of these vendors that are really looking to have more users adopting their platform, Facebook, Google, etc. They all look at it and say, hey, my next billion users are going to come from emerging markets and underserved markets where people are not even connected. So they are launching, and they feel that the way to get these people connected is through providing them cost-effective Wi-Fi functionality. And so they're working with a set of service providers in Africa and Asia, in India and other places. And we've had some number of successful deployments working with Facebook. And it's also another recognition of the quality of solutions that Cambium Networks delivers. In Latin America, this is a good example of an end-to-end solution where there are hotspots distributed across the city, which are free and voucher paid, but it also connects wirelessly. Wireless backhaul is provided by either fiber or Cambium's ePMP point solution for backhaul connectivity. Again, the entire network managed by CN Maestro. This is an example that shows the scale to which we can deploy networks. It's a large-scale ISP doing Wi-Fi services for 7,000 ASPs across 25 cities. They do both residential as well as business services. A lot of other examples, use cases, 31 schools in the UK. We have, again, a lot of this is driven by MSPs, right? The platform that we give for managed service providers, again, we're talking about MDUs today, but it's also getting deployed in a variety of other use cases where ski lift and resorts. We have a hospitality chain, Catalina Islands in the US. And also, this is in Brazil where the MSP that has not only deployed for basic coverage, but they're also using this network for enabling services on top, like ordering music, selecting music, etc. Ordering food, and selecting music. High density is becoming commonplace, be it in, it used to be the purview of stadiums and shopping malls, but now it's pretty common even in a MDU type of a setting, because every household has a number of devices that are connecting to the network. You may have common areas where a lot of people gather with multiple devices on them. So really, these are proof points where Cambium Networks has really shined. Our cnPilot solution has really come through in a lot of high density settings, number of events that we do, and we also have been doing a number of deployments like stadiums where this is becoming pretty commonplace. So that's a quick look at the capabilities that we offer for MDUs, and just want to wrap up with one summary slide here. As you saw, with CN Maestro Cloud Management, with cnPilot, both indoor, outdoor, a range of access points solutions, with APIs, guest access functionality, solution that can be really designed to match up to MDU, multi-dwelling unit realities, right? And it's right-sized in the sense that what is a specific use case? Do you want to deploy the solution on-prem or in you consume it to the cloud? You want to run your own network, or do you want to have a MSP run this network? Regardless of what the requirements are, the solution kind of can have the right size offer for your specific needs. It's MSP ready. We saw that capability of doing branded services and managed accounts, multi-tenancy, which gives you the ability for the MSP to get a common view, where the individual properties get their own view of just their own network and they can't see anybody else's network. Disruptive economics, for us, it's just not just the product and capabilities, but also the value that we offer from an economic standpoint, which really talks to the last point, which is like our goal, which is kind of what customers want across segments and especially in MDU type markets, delivering best-in-class TCO, right? The total cost of ownership, the upfront cost, as well as ongoing recurring costs, we keep it to a minimum and deliver best TCO that we can possibly do. So that concludes my presentation, and we will post the version of these slides for your consumption later. At this point, I'm not sure how I can open it for questions, but if you have any questions, let me see. Susan, if you can hear me, is there a way to open up for questions?
Yes, I can hear you. I believe there is a submit a question box for the viewers. Let me see if I can find it for you. What is on the bottom left-hand corner next to the logo, the icon next to the pencil? Is that it?
Yeah, no, I do see I see there are no outstanding questions on the group here.
Okay.
Um, so, but anyway, I will probably we can conclude then. I do appreciate all of you joining this call today, and please check out our solutions on our website, cambiumnetworks.com. There is also ability for new customers who want to try our solution. There is a free AP program that we offer for qualified customers can get a free AP to try our network in case you don't have, or if you're a partner or a managed service provider, you want some of your customers to try it, that option is also available. But details on our website. Once again, thank you all for joining, and this concludes the webinar today.